our campus. And we also have courses, advanced topics courses, especially in math. So students who go beyond the AP curriculum can take advanced topics courses. Outside of academics, we have tons of different athletic opportunities for our students. So with this photo, you'll see in the 3 of the 4 corners, different sports teams that we offer on our campus. Some of our most popular sports are ice hockey, soccer is big on our campus. We're very unique to have a figure skating program. So if you're interested in figure skating, whether you've done it before, you just want to try, you can do that at Cranbrook. Swimming is very popular on our campus as well. So it's golf and tennis. And I chose this photo because it's really awesome what the architects are able to do with this space. So this is our natatorium. And if you look at the ceiling, right, you see this large hole at the top. And there's another one over here. It's just off of the photo, but it slides open to the outside. So like while you're swimming in the pool and it starts to rain, you may be able to feel some raindrops come through. Sometimes we have birds that fly through the pool as well. And there's some wood paneling here that opens up to the outside. So it's a beautiful facility that connects the interior and exterior. And it was designed by a Cranbrook graduate. And it's the same Cranbrook graduate that's designing the President Obama Center in Chicago right now. So architecture is a huge part of who we are at Cranbrook. So I also mentioned that we had over 60 clubs and organizations on our campus. Drama is big. We have about 3 major productions every school year. We have a traditional theater, we have 2 assembly halls, and we have an outdoor Greek theater. So you have tons of opportunities to perform at Cranbrook. Robotics is very popular on our campus as well. This past year, I think we had 120 students in the upper school who are part of our robotics team. And we had about 4 teams go to Worlds this past year in Dallas, Texas. So we're very accomplished. And last year, we had state champions as well. So we are very good at robotics. And the 120 students on that team, they separated into about 15 sub teams. So if you want to participate in robotics, Cranbrook is definitely the place to do it. Wilderness is also very popular on our campus. So sophomores, they spend 2 weeks out in the wilderness. So they'll miss 1 week of class right before spring break. And then the first week of spring break, they're out in the wilderness. And that's an opportunity that our sophomores really look forward to. Speech and debate is very popular. We had this past year 1 student who was awarded academic All-American for debate, which is a huge honor. Only 2% of debaters are given this honor, and we're happy that this is our 8th Cranbrook student who was able to get this honor for speech and debate. So we have tons of different opportunities for students to be involved outside of sports. And then we also have these after-school activities. So we have fencing and crew and yoga, snowboarding. These things change every year, right? And really depend on student interest. So where are we? So Cranbrook is about 35 minutes north of Detroit, Michigan. So we're in a suburb of Detroit called Bloomfield Hills. And in Bloomfield Hills, you'll have Somerset Mall, which is about 9 minutes away, where you can do all the shopping that you want to do. And then downtown Birmingham is only 5 minutes away, and it has all the restaurants that you could ever eat at, right? So you have tons of different opportunities to just get off campus if you want to. We're not in the middle of nowhere. Like, there are things to do outside of campus. And then it's really easy to get here from other countries. So the Detroit International Airport is only 40 minutes away. And they have 1,100 flights every day, direct flights to 13 different countries. So it's super easy to get to where you need to go to. And from the Detroit airport, Delta is one of the major hubs. And so what makes Cranbrook unique, right? So most schools, they're just schools, right? Cranbrook, we're a K through 12 pre-K through 12 independent day and boarding school, but we're so much more than that. Like, we have a Institute of Science on our campus. We have a graduate art school on our campus. We have the Cranbrook Art Museum and Art Library on our campus, the Institute for Research and Collections, Cranbrook House and Gardens. So tons of different opportunities for our students to engage outside of the traditional classroom. So instead of just calling ourselves a school, we're part of the Cranbrook educational community, right? We're a community of people who love education. We're a community of people who love to learn. And that's what you will be joining at Cranbrook. And before I move on, so everything you see here is part of our campus, right? So we have 319 acres of land. Everything that's in green belongs to Cranbrook. So you're able to walk between campuses if you want. Around Cranbrook House and Gardens, right, we have this Japanese garden on our campus where there's this red bridge with a little waterfall you can walk over to with the koi pond and cherry blossom trees. Then down here we have the sunken garden. So after a tough test or a long day in class, so you just want to take a walk, most students tend to go to Cranbrook House. It's a very beautiful place to be. And the upper school at Cranbrook is separated between two campuses. So historically, Cranbrook was separated between a high school for boys and a high school for girls. So it was Kingswood School for girls, Cranbrook School for boys. In 1984, those schools became co-ed, and now we're called Cranbrook Kingswood Upper School. Right here is the Kingswood campus. Right here is the Cranbrook campus. It looks far on this map, but it's about a 10-minute walk between each campus or a 3-minute bus ride, right? So our students in the upper school will take classes on both campuses. The Cranbrook campus is where you'll have your math, science, world language, and your performing arts classes. And the another cool thing about Cranbrook is that we have two of everything, right? So becoming a co-ed school from being single sex allows us to have two of everything. So we have two libraries on our campus, two dining halls, two sets of classrooms, two auditoriums. The list just goes on and on. So you have options on what you can do on campus and what resources you want to use. And here are just some photos of the Cranbrook campus. This is where you'll have some of your math courses, the upper levels where you have some world language courses. This is the outside of the library reading room. And I'll show you the inside of the reading room, right? So if you want to find a place to just study and get some work done, our students tend to go to the reading room. Another cool thing about the reading room is that there's a bookshelf here, right here, where every book on that shelf is written by a Cranbrook graduate, right? So if you want to get some inspiration from someone who's been in your shoes, there's a bookshelf dedicated just for that. On the Cranbrook campus, we also have our oval, where we'll have some of our major athletic events. We have Friday Night Lights twice a year, where we bring in these huge stadium lights on our campus for evening games. It's home to our brand new tennis courts. So you see we have 4 courts on the left and then 4 courts on the right, and then there's seating in the middle. So it's sort of like you're at Wimbledon, right? You have this stadium seating. And we still have our older courts. So it's like 16 tennis courts on our campus. So our tennis teams are very strong. And then we also have, as I mentioned, this is where you'll have your science classes at Cranbrook. This photo is taken in Gordon Science, our science building on the Cranbrook campus. And this is the periodic table of elements. We're one of the only schools, one of the only high schools in the world that has this installation, because in every square, there's an actual element. So if you want to see what uranium looks like up close, we have a version of uranium right there in that square, right? So there aren't many schools in the entire world that have this installation, but science and technology are very crucial to who we are as a school, and we're proud to have this on our campus and to sort of make chemistry more tangible than conceptual. This is our dining hall on the Cranbrook campus. The Cranbrook campus also is where students who identify as boys reside. So our boarding program has 260 boarders. 160 of them identify as boys, about 100 identify as girls. And that's just how the school was built. We just have more space in the Cranbrook residence halls for boys. Every student has a single room, and the bathroom is at the end of the hall. And now we're going to travel over to Kingswood. Kingswood is where you'll have your fine arts classes, your English, history, and your philosophy courses. The major difference architecturally between the two campuses is that in Kingswood, you don't have to walk outside to get to your next class. Everything is under one roof. Cranbrook, you have to go outside to get to the other building, right? So I'll do a quick back and forth. So this is the Kingswood campus, all under one roof. This is the Cranbrook campus. So these are all different buildings that you have to go outside to enter, all right? Just to give you an idea of the space. Tons of cherry blossoms on the Kingswood campus. And this is a sped up look on the inside of the Kingswood campus. As on the left-hand side, we have classrooms, and we're entering the Kingswood library, right? So it's more space for our students to study, socialize, get their work done. At the end of the library back there, we have a fireplace that we light every now and then as well. Fine arts is a very important part of who we are at Cranbrook. We have fine arts courses in ceramics, digital photography, design, sculpture, painting, drawing, metalsmithing, and weaving in fibers. So this is the inside of our weaving studio. Cranbrook has the largest weaving studio in North America. And it's one of those things that you can't necessarily comprehend until you see it in real life. And this is the next best thing, right? So our students, if they take a weaving class, they're assigned a loom, and they're able to just work on that loom for their project. And it's a very unique program that we have on our campus, and the looms just continue, and they're huge, and it's super awesome what our students are able to create on these huge pieces of architecture. Here's some designs as well, just to give you an idea of what our students are able to create. I mentioned that we have two dining halls. This is the inside of the Kingswood dining hall. They serve the same thing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For lunch, however, on the lower level on the Cranbrook campus, you have hamburgers and French fries every day if you want. So if you don't want the main entree, you can go to the lower level of Cranbrook's campus to get burgers and fries. But most students just eat the main entree. The food is pretty good. Kingswood also has its own cafe, right? That's not part of the meal plan, but if you want coffee or sushi or muffins or cookies or anything in the middle of the day when the dining hall isn't open, the cafe is usually open. And Kingswood is where our students who identify as girls typically reside. They typically have a roommate, but the trade-off is that the bathroom is connected to your bedroom. All right, so for Cranbrook, where the boys live, they all have singles. The bathroom is at the end of the hall. For Kingswood, you will have a roommate, but your bathroom is connected to your room. That's the trade-off, all right? And so there's so much more about Cranbrook. I just talked about the tip of the iceberg. Another thing that makes us unique is that we have an art museum and an art library on our campus. The left-hand side is our museum. The right-hand side is our library. And on the other side of this structure are the Triton pools, right? So I remember being a student at Cranbrook and playing Frisbee. And we used to play Frisbee in the Triton pools, right? As you can see that there's tons of grass on our campus, but who wants to play in grass all the time when you can play in Triton pools, right? You find these different ways to just excite yourself, right? And have fun. I mean, we encourage our students to just truly take advantage of it. Within the Cranbrook Art Museum, we have our own collection of artwork, but we also have a rotating exhibit. So I would say every 2 or 3 months, there's a brand new exhibit in the museum. And this is some video of inside of the art museum. It's a huge space. I'm just gonna skip around just to continue to show you more of the space. So like there are different sections of the art museum. It's a legitimate museum. It's not this a rinky-dink gallery. It's massive. And if right, this is another camera angle where you'll see you're able to go to the other another wing of the museum. One of the other benefits of having this museum on our campus is that our students are able to go to the research and collections wing of the museum. So the things that aren't on the exhibit floor, but we just have in collections, they take this huge freight elevator down, and your teacher may know that there's a specific artwork that's there and they want you to see it. And they take you down here. And right here, this may look like a real person, but it's a statue made out of brass. Right, so it's a statue, and our students can get up close and personal to look at the intricacies of the artwork, and that's just one example. And it truly expands the classroom experience for our students, right? So at other independent schools, you may have to take a full day out of your schedule to go to a museum. And then have to make up tons of homework. But at Cranbrook, since it's all on our campus, you just go to the museum for class, right? And then you can still make it to your next class in time. So you don't have to worry about making up work. And our students are able to enter both of our museums free of charge. They're considered members because they're Cranbrook students. It's open to the public. And we have over 200,000 members of the public who visit our museums every year, and they have to pay, but it's free for Cranbrook students. The Cranbrook Institute of Science has a planetarium, it has an observatory, it's a natural history museum, so we have tons of minerals and geology and rock formations. There's an exhibit on Native American people as well. And I remember when I was a student, I took a Native American history class, and we were able to go to the research and collections wing of the Institute of Science, and we're able to pick any artifact related to Indigenous people and do our own research on that artifact and put on our own exhibit as a class. And then we recently, this past school year, had our physics class go over to the Institute of Science to play with the Tesla coil, right? How many schools have a Tesla coil on their campus? Cranbrook does. And with this kid, he was able to touch this small sphere that emits static electricity, and you can see his head raised, right? So it's another fantastic opportunity for our students to get up close and personal with science and not feel like they have to miss a full day's worth of class to do this. It's all on our campus. And I mentioned we have our own observatory on our campus as well. We have 2 courses in astronomy, one for stellar astronomy and one for planetary astronomy as well. And then our kids like to have fun, right? I talked about the Friday night lights, right? We bring in these lights to play a game of football. This is typically around the end of Spirit Week. And we have this powder puff game on our campus where the junior girls competed against the senior girls in football. Like they're actually tackling in football, and it's just a big Cranbrook tradition. We take students to baseball games. We order pizza, have cupcakes. We have themed dinners. We can take them to haunted houses and costume events, and our students have fun. And the last thing, and it's out of order, but I mentioned that it's about 10 minutes to walk between Cranbrook and Kingswood, or you could take the bus, and that takes about 3 minutes. And so this is just what our students would typically do after they get out of class. They need to go to the other campus. Just hop on the bus, and the bus will take you over. We have 12 plus buses in our fleet. So like you'll find a bus to take you over. It's not an issue. And that's Cranbrook Kingsford. Uppers.
Wow. I am
amazing.
I'm oh my gosh. That campus is just gorgeous, not to mention all the resources. Yeah. And what I saw was possibilities, lots of possibilities that school provided. Now, Mr. Hill, very important questions though, if all the parents are wondering, like, this is going to excite a lot of parents and families. Now, the question is, how do you define international students? What is Cranbrook like looking for specifically? What type of students are you looking to admit them into the school? What's your expectations, requirement regarding, let's say, their current score, their grade? Does it have to be straight A, 4.0, something like that?
Yeah, all great questions. So, as far as the makeup of our boarding population, 260 boarders, 130 of our boarders are international students, right? So that's about 15% of our students who identify as international, and those are students who do not currently live in the United States or hold a U.S. passport. As far as requirements for admission, we are part of the holistic admission process, right? We are not just looking for this one thing. Like, do you have to have straight A's in order to get into Cranbrook? No, we admit students who may have a few B's. That doesn't make or break your application, but I will say it's a very competitive applicant pool, right? The average TOEFL score for our students is about 106. We also have students who have 117, right? Who are coming in this incoming class. So it's a very competitive application process. For the SSAT, we have students who are above the 90th percentile, and these are all numbers that make you extremely competitive in the applicant pool, but it will not guarantee admission. As I said, we were looking for great people to join our community, right? Cranbrook is a huge place, and we want students who are going to take advantage of as many opportunities as they can, right? I think those students that are willing to do a lot of different things do well at Cranbrook, right? It's those students who only want to do one type of thing that can get sort of lost in the sauce, if you will. As I said, it's a large place, but our students are happy, they're engaged, especially our boarding students. I was a boarder when I was at Cranbrook, and so I have a special place in my heart for the boarders.
I can absolutely see that, yes.
Yeah. I love our boarders, and I take care of them when I'm on campus. So we're looking for good people to join our campus. One of the things that makes us unique from the other New England boarding schools is that we have that Midwestern hospitality, right? We really care about who you are and what you're doing, and we really want you to be okay and be safe and make sure you're eating and like you're taken care of, right? These are the things that are very important to success as a human being, right? Cranbrook is an academically rigorous school. There are tons of those schools there, but we also need to figure out and realize that people need to be safe, right? People need to be taken care of, right? And I think we do a pretty good job at doing that at Cranbrook. It's a large school, and I would be lying if I said every faculty member knew every student. Like with 800 kids, you can't really do that. But every student knows at least one faculty member very well, right? also to have 70% of your faculty members living on campus, that encourages and enhances that opportunity to connect with a faculty member.
Got you. Thank you. Now, so as far as TOEFL goes, I guess this whole TOEFL score is really, I guess, kind of make a lot of international students feel kind of worried. I mean, 100 really is, I would say, it's really not easy for a lot of people. So do you guys have like a specific bar that you set, like, let's say anywhere below a specific score, then I'm sorry, that's not going to work? Do you guys have kind of an ESL program to help the students?
Yeah. So we do offer ESOL, but it's not this a huge comprehensive program, right? So of the 132 international students this past school year, there are only 3 students in ESOL. Right. so
Oh, that is great to hear. That is great to hear. I mean, I guess to me, it means that you are you are welcoming also students who may not be able to get kind of a very high score. You're willing to admit them and willing to support them in this specific area. And I think that is also great to hear as well. And again, Cranbrook being such an amazing school, and of course, no doubt, it's going to be competitive, a very competitive pool. So that's I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, but for those 3 kids that were in ESOL, like we don't take them out of their English course, right? They're still taking the same English course as everyone else in their grade. They're just in this additional ESOL course to supplement the learnings that are happening in that class. So it's we don't have a lot of ESOL support, and we expect our students to come in ready to hit the ground running, because it's academically challenging. Cranbrook is very academically challenging.
I can see that, but I can also see, even though it's let's say an academic challenging environment, I see students being happy there, being supported. Being supported by the faculty members, and they probably just need that challenge. I mean, a lot of students out there, they do really need that challenges to help them to reach to another academic level. So I can see that, but I also see that there are a lot of happy students in Cranbrook. So I think that's really amazing. Now, the other question that typically parents would be wondering is that, let's say, do you guys have any sort of financial aids that you offer, or anything like that?
Yes. So the maximum financial aid we offer for international students is 50% of aid. And for students who are domestic, the maximum aid that we offer is 70% of aid. Of tuition, I'm sorry, 70% of tuition. it would be the maximum. But we have a limited budget, right? Like most independent schools for financial aid. So there's only so much that we can give.
Got you. Scholarship?
So no scholarships for international students.
Got you. Yeah. Sounds good. All right. And
but I will say financially, Cranbrook's tuition is significantly lower than our peer schools in the Northeast. So for our boarding tuition, is this upcoming school year is $52,350, and we don't have a separate international student fee or anything like that. It's just one fee for our boarding students, where many of the New England schools charge $60,000-$70,000, and from what you have seen, like, we can offer a program that's better than many of those schools at a fraction of the cost. So awesome. I love my alma mater.
I can see that. I love that passion. I'm still annoyed that looking at that campus. And guys, I'm actually going there physically to visit the school. And after seeing that, I've been doing some research about Cranbrook lately, and I found some clips on YouTube, and I was really amazed. Now you got me really, really excited. I see that a parent asked a question in our chat room, chat box. She said, could you please provide a little more information about the elementary school curriculum and tuition?
Yeah, I can't actually, in part because that's a different application process, different admission, part of our admission department. So the upper school is like I lead the upper school enrollment team, and that's 800 students. Pre-K through fifth grade, it's about 500 students. They have their own admission process, their own show is being run down there. But I can send you the email address of the person who oversees Brookside admissions. That's what we call our lower school, Brookside. And then we have someone else who oversees middle school enrollment.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So yeah, I would collect if you don't mind. I will be in touch with Mr. Hill, and then I'll pass on the information to you all.
So I got a question. So about students who are already in, like say, middle school at a Cranbrook, when they go, what is the process of going up in the high school?
Yeah, if a student is already enrolled in one of our middle schools, we have the middle school for boys and the middle school for girls. If they're already enrolled in either of those schools, they automatically just move up to the upper school. There's no application process for them.
Do they get to choose? They have a choice, like say, I want to be day student and they're boarding student. Say, like, I want to be day student for the 9th grade, but for the 10th grade, I really want to stay in Cambridge. Do they have this option?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you're a student who's coming up from our middle school into our upper school, our assumption is that you're going to remain a day student. If you want to move over to boarding, you just have to let us know, and we have to factor that into our admission process. It's not a guarantee that you'll be admitted into our boarding program, if you will, just because we have very limited space, right? Only a third of our upper school students are boarders, especially for our students who identify as girls. We have very limited space. It's only 102 beds for students who identify as girls versus 160 for students who identify as boys, right? So that's just part of the conversations that have to happen if you're moving from the middle school up to the upper school.
So over the years, so what is the admission rate? Say how for every student you admitted, how many applicants?
Yeah, that really depends on the market, right? And where students are applying from. So for our students who I will talk about for China, right? We get tons of applications, and this past year, and we have 15. I haven't looked at the numbers recently. I think we have 15 incoming students, which is high for us. We typically don't have as many. This is actually our largest international population that we're bringing in this school year. But typically it's extremely competitive. We have hundreds of applications for students who are applying from China. So it's difficult. Our job in admissions is very difficult. Whereas we don't have as many students who are applying from Japan, right? We have students on our campus who identify as Japanese and who are from Japan, but that's not a huge population of students, right? So we'll probably look at that applicant pool differently, right? So that's why I can't just give you a percentage, because it really depends on where a student is applying from, right? We're trying to look for a diverse body, student body, right? And I think as students who are coming into a boarding school, you want to be around a diverse group of people from so many different backgrounds, and so that's our job to do that, right? And make sure that we're bringing in kids from so many different places.
If you can give, I want to say one, maybe you have more than one. If you have to give some tips to future applicants for the high school, what would you think that would be?
Tips. Let me 1 second. I just put Laura Carl's email in the chat. So Laura Carl oversees our lower school enrollment for elementary school, pre-K through 5. Tips for the upper school. If you can visit campus, please do so. I would love to meet you in person. I'm not going to be overseeing international enrollment this school year. Last school year I did, but now I'm taking on a new role and I'm leading the entire upper school enrollment team. So I'll still be in the office, and you'll still see me if you come on campus. But it's not a guarantee that we'll have an opportunity to connect. But I'll be around and you'll see me. And I'm still in the upper school admission office, just in a different capacity. In the application process, I encourage you to be authentic to yourself. Don't tell us what you think we want to hear. Tell us who you are, right? I'm looking for people, right? I'm not looking for the cogs to fill a machine. Like, I'm looking for genuine people to fill out our class, right? So let me know who you are. What are your interests? What are the things that you're curious about? What are the things that keep you up at night? What are your goals, right? These are things that we want to know in the application process, so I can really get an understanding of who you are and how you can be best served at our institution, right? And that comes through in your essays, right? We know that you'll have some support in reading and writing those essays, but if there's something that you absolutely want to be written, and someone saying, I wouldn't write that, but you absolutely want it, just put it in there. It's you. It's your essay, right? That's my piece of advice. I've been doing this long enough to have read thousands of essays and met many people, to know when I'm getting an authentic representation of someone versus something that's been through the washing machine, right, if you will.
Yeah, I think thank you so much. That is coming from you. That is a very good advice. In fact, we tell our students, be authentic. Authenticity, it's like you or you. So if you are doing the things other people are doing, you are copying other people, right? You are not just a list of achievements and a list of GPAs, just to tell them who you are or tell you who you are. So I want to say this, it's so important that I want to say this in Chinese for once, excuse me. 刚刚我们问那个 Mo 的那个问题是说他对咱们学生有什么建议，如果是未来申请的学生，那么他说就是说做他的那个建议就是说做真实的自己，不要想着啊别人有什么东西，你有哪些东西做了，把那些你的成就啊那些活动啊都列进去，因为他们不想看到这些一系列的这种清单，他们想看到的是一个有血有肉的，就真实的你自己。如果说有一个东西你非常的感兴趣，你非常的 passionate about it，tell them about it， 告诉他们。这也是我们在辅导学生的时候，我们从学生的兴趣出发，帮你真正的挖掘到自己的这个长处和兴趣，还有你的一个热情。OK。Keep on going。还有大家有什么问题可以直接在 chat box 里面说，或者是直接 unmute 你自己，或者说中文也可以，我们可以帮你翻译。 Okay, the teacher, do you have some questions already over there?
I asked all the questions that parents left when they registered for this session. I think majorly they are wondering, like, you know, we're interested, we like the school, but how do we get in? How do we get our child to be admitted? Very straightforward, to the point, cut to the chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I understand it, and it's daunting, right? You could do everything that you perceive to be the right thing to do and still not be admitted. And I know that's a very hard thing to realize. But we are not we're not the only independent school out there, right? You have tons of different options and opportunities. But also, just because they say no one year doesn't mean there won't be a no for the following year, right? And there are just so many different factors that come into an application and admission decision that I don't think you should be down on yourself if it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to turn out. You are strong applicants. You are great people.
I totally agree, and that's why we've been inviting many schools and to do these kind of information sessions. We wanted to let the parents know that what are the options out there. And again, I feel like, you know, and that's what we've been telling our parents, our families as well. Like, if you're not admitted to one school, that really just because, you know, it's really not a good fit. And then you're going to find somewhere that you're going to find your happy place, basically. And I totally agree. Like, education should be somewhat challenging, yet happy. You need to be happy in order to be successful. And again, that's something that we emphasize over and over. Besides being authentic, you need to be happy. You need to find your passion, and you need to know what you like, and that's how you find a good place to go to. So yeah, I really appreciate it. And again, coming directly from you, emphasizing this being authentic, I think it is it's great to hear. It's really good to hear.
So I got one more question. So about the student athletes. So what type of support that Cranbrook will provide for student athlete? You mentioned about figure skating and other like swimming, other sport. Do you, like, if it's a boarding student, do you take them to like the competitions, the games, or like how about the coaching resources?
Yeah, so if it's a boarding student, we will absolutely get you to where you need to be. Like, you don't have to worry about that. Most of our facilities are on campus. So our hockey, we have our own ice rink on our campus. We have 2 basketball gyms. We have our own weight room. We have, as you saw, 16 tennis courts. Our students go off campus for golf. They all go off campus for snowboarding and skiing. And I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but if it's a program that we offer, we're going to get our students to where they need to be.
Another is the last one will be about a more practical question. So if the student apply for different school and the school have different like offer date, announcement date, say the Northeast is in February and it's different from the West Coast. So if the student get an offer from a school that tells them first, and they think, oh, I really want to go to Cranbrook, we want to hear about Cranbrook's decision in order to make a final decision. What would your suggestion be? Because we had a student like in the past years, like in similar situations.
Yeah. So we are aligned with what TABS recommends us to do, which is to release decisions on March 10th and expect families to let us know by April 10th, right? So we release all of our decisions for our boarding students on March 10th. If you are a late applicant and we just so happen to have space in our residential program, typically we will turn around a decision a week or 2 weeks after the application is complete. So it's a pretty good turnaround time. If it's like, I don't know, May 12th, and we happen to have one bed space, right, in our boys' dorm, right, and you just so happen to apply, we can get a decision out pretty quickly. I'm not sure if that answered the question though. Was that helpful?
And more referring to the day students, because
Okay.
in the all at the same day, it's the day schools that they announce on different dates.
Yeah. So for day student, I would say just keep us in conversation, right? And keep us abreast and aware of when you have to decide on where you have to enroll. Because we can be pretty flexible with our day population, where we don't have to follow specific rules set by tabs. So just keep us in the conversation, and we'll be able to give you better guidance. It's not a one size fits all for day students.
Thank you. That's very nice to know. Yeah.
I think I got another question. This parent, I think she's interested specifically in the music area. She's wondering if the school has any kind of music, like a band or clubs, and is it like wind orchestra? Is that right? Yeah. And or string orchestra type of things. And the other question she asked is about swimming. Do you guys have swimming team, and what is the qualification?
Yes, so we have swimming, absolutely. And let me see if I can pull it up. I closed it out. We absolutely have a swimming team, and it's a very talented team. And this is our swimming pool, right? So like it's a beautiful facility that our students have at their disposal. For music, we have vocal music and instrumental music. For instrumental music, we have orchestra, we have concert band, we have symphony band, we have a string quartet, jazz band, pit orchestra. For vocal music, we also have madrigals, which is the choir for students who identify as girls. We have master singers for the choir for students who identify as boys, and we just have concert choir for all genders, right? So we have tons of music opportunities for our students on our campus, and our students are extremely talented when it comes to music. And we even have students who are playing at some of our athletic events. I'm not sure if I showed this picture or not, but oops. Right, this is our orchestra playing at an athletic event. They're sitting in the stands, right? So you'll have tons of opportunities to play at Cranbrook.
Do you set a bar, like if students interested in, let's say, a specific kind of instrument, do you have like a requirement, like you must have some sort of background in order to join this band or this team?
Yeah. So some of our music programs are audition based, right? So symphony band requires an audition. Concert band does not, but for concert band, you have to have a couple of years of experience, right? We have opportunities for students across the spectrum, but as you move up, some of the courses will require you to audition.
Thank you. And as far as swimming team, is that kind of the same that, if they're interested, they will join sort of a meet or something in order to be qualified?
Yeah. For swimming, and this is I'm trying to remember. I haven't thought about this in a while. For swimming teams, I don't believe we have a junior varsity situation. It's one of those, if you want to be on the team, you can join the team setup. There are some other teams like soccer that is very competitive, and you actually have to try out. Ice hockey, extremely competitive. You'll have to try out. Swimming, I don't think it's one of those sports that you have to try out for. I don't think you have to try out for swimming. You just join the team.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much. It is about 9:30. We should really let you go. You had a really long day.
Yes,
And
no
again,
worries.
thank you a million for being here today for us.
No worries.
And 我们因为也9点半了，那Mr. Hill 其实今天有一个很长很忙碌的一天了，所以我们就让他休息。如果家长们还有什么问题是你们今天就是没有还没想到啊，或者是还没有得到回答的，欢迎就是 email 跟我们联系，那我们都可以帮您把一些问题pass on to the school. Okay, all right. Well, that's it, and thank you again. I'm so looking forward to meeting you in person.
Yes.
Yes.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Yes, Tina, you have anything that you wanted to say?
建议我是说你可以把我们那个 QR code 放上来，这样他们可以。
好的。Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I am going to share our contact information with everybody here. So you're able to scan the code and you'll be able to get in touch with us. 所以大家可以扫 QR code. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Hill.
Bye-bye.
I'll see you in a few weeks. Bye.
对，大家如果有什么问题的话，也可以现在问。如果我们还可以再待2分钟，对吧？建议其实现在在 Niagara Falls
我在美国边界。
我是刚刚回来，我看这个，我觉得真是很震撼的。这个
对，这个学校就是真的校园，我觉得资源好丰富。
就是你在选校的时候，你可以看，就是说东北部的学校是在，就是说在学术方面非常的那个就是 advanced 的，但是其实这个学校它在全国的排名也非常高，但是它的这个活动的范围就很广。
对，其实我觉得中西部吧，就像刚刚他提到的，中西部真的就是我自己住中西部住很久了，我老公自己是中西部人，就是有很多很快乐的人，我觉得友善的人是这边的一个特点吧，就真的是很友善。我印象很深的是有一次我开车，然后那个交通很繁忙的，我的车出不来。就真的会让，就是他们就自己会把 gap 就拉远了，然后就让我这样 merge in 就进来了。说真的是这个是我第一次对中西部的那个印象，就是哇 people are so friendly， 然后他们就是会去替邻居啊、朋友啊，就替你们着想。所以我觉得中西部让我特别喜欢的就是一个这样的一个文化。那他刚刚也就是一个。就很开心的一个人，就是充满热情啊，然后，但是就是 lay back 吧，我觉得就是比较 lay back， 所以看你们的性格吧，我觉得如果说你自己是适合 lay back 的，那我就会真的很推荐来中西部。那像这样的学校，就是
那么 lay back，他在学术方面，你看他的那个每年那个就是说毕业生去向也非常的强，
还非常好。对，我觉得中西部比较强调的就是要快乐的生活，但是也是要有足够的 challenges。Kingsley 妈妈会的，今天我们这个都录下来了。
大家也可以到我们的那个 YouTube 去上去看，你已经设置了那个 live 是吧？我看。
对，我设置了 live 的。
对，我觉得
对，
至少我很心动。
我觉得我每次邀的学校真的都是非常好的学校，我们都已经帮大家就是filter 了，过了一轮了，我们邀请的学校真的都是很好的学校。
我们也不会去要求。好，
对呀，
今天到这里，谢谢大家，周末快乐，
周末快乐，
拜。
拜拜。
那这个可以那个给丽燕发完以后就可以。
知道，
好，拜拜。
好。